Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. So let's continue our topic about Edward Said. Today's it's about an introduction to Edward Said's Orientalism. Orientalism by Edward Said is an canonical text of cultural studies in which he has challenged the concept of Orientalism or the difference between East and West. As he puts it, he says that with the start of European colonization and the Europeans came in contact Edward Said argues that the Europeans divided the world into two parts, the East and the West, or the Occident and the Orient, or the civilized and the uncivilized. This was totally an artificial boundary, and it was laid on the basis of the concept of them and us or theirs and ours. The Europeans used Orientalism to define themselves. Some particular attributes were associated with the Orientals, and whatever the Orientals were not, the Occidents were. The Europeans defined themselves as the superior race compared to the Orientals, and they justified their colonization by this concept. They said that it was their duty towards the world to civilize the uncivilized world. The main problem, however, arose when the Europeans started generalizing the attributes they associated with Orientals and started portraying these artificial characteristics associated with Orientals in their Western world through their scientific reports, literary work, and other media sources. What happened was that it created a certain image about the Orientals in the European mind, and in doing that infuse as in the European attitude towards the Orientals. This was also found in an Orientalistic scientist studying the Orientals, and all their scientific research and reports were under the influence of this. The generalized attributes associated with the Orientals can be seen even today. For example, the Arabs are defined as civilized people, and Islam is seen as religion of the terrorist. In this chapter, Edward Said explains how the science of Orientalism developed and how the Orientals started considering the Orientals as non-human beings. The Orientals divided the world into two parts by using the concept of ours and theirs. An imaginary geographical line was drawn between what was ours and what was theirs. The Orients were regarded as uncivilized people, and the Westerns said that since they were the refined race, it was their duty to civilize these people, and in order to achieve their goal, they had to colonize and rule the Orients. They said that the Orients themselves were incapable of running their own government. The Europeans also thought that they had the right to represent the Orientals in the West all by themselves. In doing so, they shaped the Orientals the way they perceived them, or in other words, they were Orientalizing the Orients. Various teams have been sent to the East, where the Orientalists silently observed the Orientals by living with them. And everything the Orientals said and did was recorded irrespective of its context and projected to the civilized world of the West. This resulted in the generalization. Whatever was seen by the Orientals was associated with the Oriental culture, no matter if it is the irrational action of an individual. The most important use of Orientalism to the Europeans was that they defined themselves by defining the Orientals. For example, qualities such as lazy, irrational, uncivilized were related to the Orientals, and automatically the Europeans became active, rational, civilized, sophisticated. Thus, in order to achieve this goal, it was very necessary for the Orientalists to generalize the culture of the Orients.